County, maybe 7 in Louisiana and Shelby.
Oh, awesome. Yes. Then we're going to bump it up to that's the only one.
Hey Scott, sorry, I didn't know you were on.
Yes.
Did you already tell me about that?
Maybe.
I feel like you already told me.
But I think this time just like the last time.
Okay.
So, I don't know, maybe I'll leave this here.
No, you don't have the same one because we took them all off and then we put them all back up. That must be a different.
What's that?
Oh,
I have one out tomorrow.
Yeah.
She works up in the mine. I don't have the cube. Check with
I'm sure there's one up there.
Oh my God.
Sorry guys, I'm not being needy, I just don't know how to get catch my
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Here, they closed on, people that bought the ice cream shop Stacy, her mom,
She's a nurse.
What's that?
It's a nurse from Springfield, boss.
It's like
She bought the building and all. Awesome. She's gonna redo the candy side of it with the ice cream she's buying from the same place they bought it from. Really? Awesome. Good news.
Now we just kind of.
Welcome, everyone, to the West Milton Council Workshop for April 22nd, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hurst.
Here.
Mr. Sodders.
Here.
Mr. Vogel.
Here.
Ms. Gregory.
Here.
Ms. Metz. Here. Mr. Horn.
Here.
Mr. Dorman.
Here. Thank you. First on the agenda is the Child Advocacy Center presentation.
This is Jennifer Nisley, who's the director of the Children Advocacy Center, or Child Advocacy Center. She's been there from the inception. It was kind of her brainchild to get it started at Isaiah's place. This is something that has really worked well for everybody, and not just Miami County, but some of the surrounding counties. So she's going to give you a little background of what 2024 looked like.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So like I said, my name is Jen Nisley. I've come here before. I try to kind of come yearly and just share with folks, give them an update on what we've been able to do with the program, and just thank people for the support, for the financial support. So if you weren't here the last time that I spoke, or entirely sure, we provide a collaborative response to child abuse allegations in Miami County. So what that looks like is we coordinate with our local law enforcement, child protective services, victim witness, prosecutor's office, mental health, and then medical providers that respond to those cases in the county. So we coordinate those efforts, and then kind of the goal is to work together a little bit more efficiently to reduce the trauma on the child. So they come to our facility, we conduct the forensic interviews, the team is there to meet with the children, then we connect immediately to mental health and medical services. So that's in a tiny, tiny little nutshell what we do. We open doors the end of 2022. And so I just am coming to share kind of what we did last calendar year, for folks to have a little bit of an update. So we served 155 individual children and families last year, which is a little bit more than we did the previous year. You guys have some information. I'm not going to read it all to you, but just our numbers continue to be primarily children who are victims of child sexual abuse. That is the overwhelming majority of cases that we see, as well as some severe physical abuse, some severe neglect, some situations where maybe a child's been exposed to some online sharing or creating of information, but overwhelmingly it still remains sexual abuse cases. The age breakdown, the majority of our kids are 11 to 17, so in that school age range. And then for your kind of piece that you might be more interested in, last year West Milton accounted for 7% of our cases, and so that was broke down to 11 children that we serviced that were from West Milton. 2024, we were able to add, so we, in addition to hiring a full-time therapist, we also now have a part-time social worker to help us with forensic interviews, providing some case management for families. There just was a need to be able to provide some more ongoing care and support for these families after they leave our agency. Sometimes law enforcement might do their investigation and they're wrapped up, CPS might do their investigation and wrapped up, but there's a lot of times still just some things lingering that folks need help with. And so we have another part-time social worker now that we were able to add last year to support some of those services. We provide kind of an interesting thing that has come up as we've delved into the prevention world. So there aren't other agencies, or there wasn't anybody else that was providing some of those resources. And so we partnered with the ESC to be able to provide a curriculum to our public schools. Aaron's Law passed 2 years ago, and that's requiring all K through 6 public schools to provide some form of sexual abuse prevention in the classroom. And so we renewed contracts with 7 of those districts in the county, in the public school districts, West Milton being one of those, and then continue to provide some kind of back office support, if you will, to those folks that are doing that curriculum, some training, and then my staff as well is trained in that curriculum if we need to help the schools in providing that. Last year, we also brought in a nationally recognized trainer to provide a minimal facts training. So for folks who work with children who might be on the receiving end of a disclosure, just to learn a little bit more about how to respond to that, what to say, kind of what to do, what not to do, just to try to help elevate how we're responding to these kiddos. And so we had over 135 folks from the county attend that. We continue to provide community training. So if folks are interested in, like, hey, I want you to come talk to my Kiwanis group, or I want you to come talk to my church group, or do some training for my camp counselors. We are providing some of that resources as well to folks. Any situations that we can to help kind of get out the word, whether it be prevention or how to respond, or just kind of some child abuse 101. We do a lot of those presentations as well. And just lastly, we maintain kind of our average cost to respond to cases in Ohio is a little over $2,000, and we are providing those services for less than that. Given what our budget was, we've been able to do a lot with a little, and I'm really proud of that. We are a nonprofit. We're under Isaiah's Place, under their nonprofit umbrella, so that's typically how people recognize us, or I've heard of that name before. But none of our services cost. We cannot charge any families. It's one of our accreditation standards. We can't charge folks for these services. So we're entirely funded by grants, donations, the funds that we receive from some of the law enforcement jurisdictions, and then we rely heavily on state and federal grants. So we were able to maintain that support, and then, like I said, increase that a little bit to be able to increase our services for folks. So I really appreciate West Milton's support. Their police department is a great partner with us. We have a really good relationship, and that's a really a nice thing to have. I feel like we can pick up the phone and call each other, and are trying to do right by these kiddos. And so that's a huge thanks to you all, and credit to what you have going on here in West Milton. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer questions. But like I said, I just wanted to kind of give you a little update on 2024.
Thank you. Council have any questions?
Chief, what is our annual donation like $1,000?
Yes, sir. Prior to this opening up, if we went, the closest center that was open was over in Montgomery County through the prosecutor's office. And they used to be free, but they got so overwhelmed and so much was going on there, they started charging you for every interview or every child you brought over. It was a $1,000 fee. So we pay $1,000, and last year, if we'd have taken those 11 children over there, it would have been $11,000 that we just, you can't budget for that, because we just don't know if hopefully we have 0 victims, but we've so far never had 0 victims. I feel very blessed that Jennifer asked me to serve on the steering committee, so I'm one of the law enforcement people, the liaison. She has all different walks of life on the steering committee. And one of the things that she didn't tell you is that at the end of this year, they're going for an accredited agency. So we just recently met as a steering committee to work on trying to get that all put together. They brought on a doctor from outside who's in the education field and is very familiar with all this type of stuff. And it was a great day. I enjoyed it. We had a good time. And again, there was people from all walks of life in that room. The lady who sat next to me is the Director of Children's Services. Her boss sat across from me. He's the director of the actual Isaiah's place. And then the other forensic interviewer was across the table from me. There's another lady that works with her by the name of Ashley. Ashley's awesome too. I don't know where she found her, but don't let her go.
Well, I know I can't speak for everybody on council, but I'd be in favor of looking to raise that contribution, if not for this year, for next year, at least.
Yeah.
So,
That can be something I look at when I put in for.
Does that go in your part of the budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
And right now, the budget is only $1,000?
that's all she's asked for.
But what you said is, if like we have 11,700,
Right.
it's like 1,000 for each.
If we went somewhere else,
So
yes.
can't we ultimately, if, we see that we have more kids in a year, couldn't we amend the budget to add those funds in there to do that, to provide those for the service? I mean,
That could be something we could explore. We would probably do it through an amendment like we normally do. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but in December?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It can be done as an amendment. It's
Okay.
council's budget. They can do
Yeah.
with it what they want.
So reading through your slides where you talk about you trained over 150 school personnel in Miami County, so how many staff at our school here would you
Yeah,
guess that you
so
guys
that
trained?
was just 2024. In 2023, we trained your entire staff, West Milton's entire school district. So that, when Aaron's Law came down in 2023, it gave the requirement within the end of the school year that all the staff had a training component as well. So we trained every school district. So in 2023, it was about 750 school staff. So that was when we did West Milton, and it was all of your staff. So it was during one of their paid days, maybe in August or something before
Right.
they go back. And
It
so
was a teacher and service day.
So we went and did everybody then.
That 134 is probably a catch-up for new employees.
Yeah, that was different districts and kind of different add-ons and stuff.
Okay.
But the first year that passed, to get everyone in, we went and did everybody.
And-
Everybody
and-
that asked for it.
And you have contracts with Troy, Pickwick, Covington, Milton Union, Bethel, Tip City, Miami East. Is there anybody that you guys don't have one with?
Newton.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So by doing that, by us being the, paying for that curriculum, we're able to add those school districts to our account. And so it's saving them about $5,000 a district from having to buy their own curriculum. So we kind of are the spearhead of that, and then can add everyone on just as a cost savings to them. So kind of passing, not everybody needs to buy it. It's the same thing, but,
Do those contracts vary based on school district size, or is it?
no, it's just for the curriculum. It's based on like K through 6 is a curriculum, and then there's a high school curriculum. And so some districts purchase just the K through 6, and some can add the high school, but that's a flat fee. So, yeah, good question. We try to be really frugal and, pass on savings as we can. It just doesn't make sense, right, to have everybody out there buying it when it's all the same thing. So,
No, we
Yeah. Yeah.
appreciate what you guys do.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for letting me come. I appreciate it.
you do.
All right. Next, we have a presentation by the Retail Strategies.
I think he said he was gonna get this slide pulled up for you guys. There
All right.
it is. It's right on time. This is awesome. Okey dokey. I'm gonna try to keep it quick. I know I only have about 20 minutes. But first and foremost, I'm Lizzie Sanders. I'm with Retail Strategies. Thank you, Jeff and Sarah, for making this happen and getting me on the bill, or on the agenda tonight. I know that we've been talking for about 6 months, waiting on the comprehensive plan to be done, and it just seemed like the right time, especially with the Stillwater Crossing development finishing up. I wanted to preface before I dive into my presentation, it's 2 different service lines. One of them being retail recruitment, focusing on the retail sector, and the second one being a downtown revitalization, focusing strictly on the downtown. That can be confusing sometimes, so I want to go ahead and let you know on the front end. Next slide, please. Okay, a little bit about our firm. Retail Strategies was born out of our sister company, Retail Specialists, in 2011. Retail Specialists, our sister company, is a commercial real estate company. We just celebrated 20 years back in February. We've worked with over 800 communities across the United States. We're mostly known for our vast network of retail and industry professionals, and we're the only municipal firm in the United States that has a real estate team under its roof. As you can tell, there's just a handful of brands that we recruited to various communities across the United States. But then on the right-hand side is our industry involvement. We're heavily involved with ICSC. The president of Retail Strategies, Lacey Beasley, actually sits on their board. It's the largest real estate conference in the United States. We're also involved with Main Street America, the IDA, which is International Downtown Association, ICMA, and National League of Cities. Next slide, please. Back in 2011, we realized there was a missing gap between municipalities and retail real estate. A lot of that being, a lot of communities' goals are to increase tax revenue, in y'all's case, income tax, job creation, quality of life, and new business. But that comes with challenges. I know a lot of y'all wear multiple hats. A lot of y'all don't have the network, the time, the resources, or the experience to understand real estate and bringing in new retailers to the market. Next slide. And we are a community partner, like I said earlier. Currently, we have 335 clients. We have a 4-to-1 client-staff ratio, and we are rural America. About 65% of our clients are under 20,000 population size. I mean, we worked with population size much larger, but we definitely specialize in rural America. Next slide. These are just some of our regional partners. I wanted you to take a gander, just other states that we're working in surrounding you: Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana. Anything in light green is a retail recruitment client, and anyone in darker green is a downtown strategies client. Anything with a star is 10,000 population size or less. So it gives you an idea of we do work with communities of all different sizes. And next slide, we're going to jump into our Ohio partnerships. As you can tell, anything in a white dye is a retail recruitment partner currently. We're working with Springboro, Salem, Chardon, and Elyria. Anything in blue is a retail academy partner. So that's Lorraine and Miami Township. Fun fact, Lorraine's actually in our Birmingham office right now doing a retail academy. And our only downtown strategies partner as of now is Oberlin. I definitely wanted to highlight Chardon, which is a client community of ours. They have a similar population size of about 5,000, a little over 5,000. And within 2 years in our partnerships, we solidified Chipotle, Starbucks, and Pop Shelf. Just in 2 years, there's actually Michael and Jimmy, they just visited the market and got to experience those firsthand and see what their work has come into fruition. The next slide, we're looking at another partnership with Springboro, Ohio. They're a little bit higher on the population size, pushing 20,000, but just 2 years into our partnership, we solidified Aldi and Planet Fitness. Now diving into the next slide, as you can see on the map, you're probably wondering, okay, that's definitely not West Milton in the red outline, but that is actually your custom trade area. So the blue outline is actually West Milton's municipal boundaries. So when you're a retailer and you're looking at a community, you're not just looking at population size and vehicles per day. You're looking at who the overall consumer is. So I actually pulled this data from the McDonald's just down the road. And this is showing who are the consumers going to that McDonald's. So there's about 31,000 consumers going to that McDonald's. Over 75% of those people visiting McDonald's are repeat visitors, so they come regularly. On top of that, if you're looking at the average household income, within that trade area, it's about $89,000. And when you're looking as a retailer, that looks a lot more appetizing than the $65,000 average household income that West Milton has. As well, at the bottom, you can see that there's over $66 million in retail leakage. So $66 million are leaving your municipal boundaries to be shopped elsewhere. Next slide. Okay, and so with retail recruitment, we have a 4-step process. First diving is the market analysis. This is understanding who your consumers are, what is their buying power. And going into your next phase is our real estate assessment, which I will dive into these a little bit deeper as we get into. This is just an overall view of it. Real estate assessment, getting into the market, actually having boots on the ground. Our real estate professionals will come to the market. They're going to log all those real estate sites on and off market. Next, we combine the market analysis and the real estate assessment and create a retail strategy. And this is a 7-page document that we call our Bible for West Milton. For the next 3 years of our partnership, that's what we're going to follow. And then last but not least, the most important part, business attraction and community representation. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is what people actually hire us for. It's our Rolodex of connections and contacts, and we're actually going to do the heavy lifting when it comes to retail recruitment. Okay, and you can go to the next slide after this. We're going to dive into the market analysis. So our market analysis is split up to 6 different categories. The first one being mobile data collection. So who in here has a smartphone? Essentially everyone. It's a little big brother and a little scary, but if you have a smartphone and your location services are on, whether you have your maps on, just to get to, to and from work or wherever you're going, that means we're tracking you. Scary, but it tracks not only where you are, how long you're there, how often you frequent, and on top of that, we're also looking at credit card data. So how much money you're spending there. It's a little creepy, but it helps us get an understanding of where are you wanting to spend your money and how far are you willing to drive. Next is that trade area identification that I just talked about a few slides ago, understanding really who your consumer is. Next, we jump into a peer and void analysis. So this is looking at markets similar to West Milton in demographic and population size, and then looking at what retail has been successful there. Next, we do the retail leakage, like I talked about earlier. This is diving into the numbers of how much money are people willing to spend in Inglewood, whether it's on a sit-down restaurant, and in different markets. Where are people and how far are they willing to go and spend when you could just have it right here? Once again, we go over consumer expenditures, drilling into each retail segment. How much money are they willing to spend? And lastly, I think is probably one of the most interesting is the psychographic analysis. So this is really getting an understanding of who your consumers are down to what beliefs they have. What time of day are they willing to spend money? What are their job titles typically like? And that's how we really get an idea of the overall consumer in West Milton. Now to the next slide. And you can go one more too. Next is the real estate assessment. I know this is something that Sarah and I mentioned, we talked about. There isn't a current, a list categorizing, what real estate is available and unavailable. And that's when our boots on the ground. So about 70 days in to our partnership, we ran all the data, we come into the market, and we're looking at every real estate site on market and off market. We're also looking at signage, we're looking at visibility, parking lots, current co-tenancies. A lot of you may not know, but retailers are looking at the AM and PM side of the road. AM is something, coffee shop, coffee users is going to be on the AM side of the road. PM side of the road is going to be your grocery stores. So just getting an understanding of your current real estate and your market really sets you up for more success. Also, we are the only firm that has over 25 licensed real estate professionals, and they are all taking a look at your market. You can go to the next slide and go one or two. And now is the retail strategy. So this is, like I said, our Bible for West Milton. And if we were to have a partnership, this would be a 70-page document. So this is going over, we're training you on the data, we're training you on what your market says about your consumer, and then on top of that, we give you about 4 to 5 categories of where we're going to focus retail-wise. And from there, you give us the blessing. If there's something like, hey, we don't really want that retailer, or that's not really a category we think is necessary for West Milton, you'll have to say so. And you give us the go forth and multiply, and that's really where we start. And then we also provide a marketing guide. So this is something that you can have in your office. It's a snapshot of your current retail scene. You can also have on your website. We use this when going to conferences, but it's a great talking point, especially if interested parties come into the market. Once again, these are those 3 deliverables I just talked about. First, the market analysis, the retail recruitment plan, and lastly, that marketing guide. Next slide. And this is the most exciting part, you can go to the next slide as well, is the conference representation in day-to-day life. So we are working for you, we act as an extension of your economic development team. So we're calling on these retailers, we're putting sites in front of their face, whether it's over email or through conferences. We go to about 65 conferences a year. Majority of them are small municipal shows, but the larger conferences like the ICSC show that I talked about earlier is really where we found a lot of our success. For instance, coming up next month is the largest commercial real estate conference, which is in Vegas, which is ICSC Vegas. We have over 550 meetings in 2 days. Our team attends over 18 events. We actually host one of our own events with over 50 retailers where client communities can have face-to-face time with these retailers. And that's really what sets us apart from other firms. Our events are always well attended, and they truly have some of the best retailers in the market, from Chick-fil-A to Pizza Hut to Papa John's to anything in between, Walmart, Aldi, they're there. And that's really what people hire us for, is our Rolodex of connections. And you can go to the next slide. It's our team and reporting. You can go one more too, yeah. There you go. So this is the team that would be working with West Milton. So I fortunately get to find really viable communities like yourself. And once we find those viable communities, I pass it over to Michael Warsall and Jimmy Pritchett. Michael Warsall will be your day-to-day contact. He's going to be giving you updates on who we're talking to. And then Jimmy's actually doing the heavy lifting with calling those retailers and developers on your behalf. The team below them is we just support West Milton, whether it's through marketing materials, writing press releases, and then also just having our support from our development team as well. And then lastly is reporting and communication. We use Basecamp. So this is where our retail development team actually is giving consistent updates, who we're talking to, especially after our ICSC Vegas. There are so many meetings that we would have on your behalf. So with that, we do a Vegas report. So the week following, usually about a week and a half, just so we have plenty of time to do follow-up with these retailers, we send a QBR, which is a quarterly business report. In this instance, it'll be for Vegas. And they're telling you every meeting we had, what was said. Sometimes you need to hear why they're saying no to understand what we can do to change that. And then we're also giving you consistent updates on retail trends. We are the first ones to know what brands are expanding into Ohio, and we want you to be the first ones to know that. And now we're going to dive into our downtown strategies presentation. You can go to the next slide. And one more slide, if you don't mind. Okie dokie. So what you're looking at is what the traditional planning process is when it comes to downtown. Downtowns face challenges, whether it's vacant properties, lack of retail restaurants, need more activity, stagnant growth, and the spark has stalled. Next, you develop a plan, whether that be a strategic plan, a master plan, and y'all have been proactive and had that comprehensive plan. But once you have that comprehensive plan, a lot of communities don't know what's next. They're like, okay, we're gonna let it collect dust on the shelf, and because you don't know where to start. A lot of these comprehensive plans are looking 10 to 20 years down the road instead of what can you do right now. And that's really where Downtown Strategies was born. You can go to the next slide. So really unlocking your downtown's potential is a lot simpler than actually having, a 20-year master plan. How are you going to actually accomplish that? You can go to the next slide. So we have 3 different categories of how we split up, tackling a downtown. First, like we did in retail recruitment, we're going to do a discovery phase. That's also looking at your data that I mentioned earlier, but on top of that, we're looking at what you already have. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We don't want you to pay for something you've already paid for. We're going to look at your current plans, that comprehensive plan that was just finished. We're going to take a look at that. And then from there, we're actually going to create a 5-year strategic action plan. So this is a bite-sized plan. It's about 20 to 30 strategies that are implementable and actionable now. And then from there, a plan is not completed unless it's implemented. So our implementation team will actually create a local action team. And you can go to the next slide. Okay, in that discovery and research phase, I know I'm talking fast, but I want to make sure I cover everything in this short amount of time I have. Okay, so in the discovery and research phase, within 1 week of our contract being signed, we have a kickoff call. That's getting to know who your core team is and also introducing you to our team. From there, we do an onboarding form. This is for your core team to fill out, whether it's someone from council, any kind of downtown committee you may have. But we're not just wanting council's opinion, we want the community's opinion. And I know Jeff talked about the YMCA survey on it. You had over 500 responses, so clearly you're adamant and you're wanting change. I think this would be a great opportunity when we do our community input survey. So we want the community's input. We want to know what you envision your downtown looking like. And then from there, we do our market analysis. Like I said, looking over the data and the numbers. Your downtown demographic is a lot different from those that are shopping at major retail nodes. And then lastly, we do a strategic visioning workshop. So our team members actually come to West Milton. We do a walkability assessment on your downtown. We're looking, if you're going to walk 10 minutes in either direction, what can you accomplish and what can you do? And then from there, we host the strategic visioning workshop, which is open to property owners, business leaders, and the greater community, so we can all get rowing in the same direction and have the same plan. From there, this is the strategic action plan that I discussed earlier. So we look at 4 different notes when discussing your action playbook. The first one being policy, your carrots, which are your incentives, and your sticks, which is your policies. So what policies can you include to help change the downtown feel? Next is design. So like I said, we're not a master planner or anything, but we're looking, what can we do to improve the walkability and the aesthetics of your downtown? Next is tourism and promotion. You'll have a main highway coming straight through the middle of West Milton. How can you connect these visitors with the local businesses? And lastly is economic vitality. We really want to set the table for those private investors to invest back in your downtown and bring back that downtown feel that Jeff mentioned, 30 or something years ago? You're like, we had a thriving downtown and everyone wanted to come, but let's bring that back. And the next slide is our implementation support. So like I said, we launch those local action teams about month 9 into our partnership. So after we deliver our plan and we start really doing those mapping workshops, we have those 20 to 30 strategies, but within those strategies, we're going to tell you exactly how to accomplish it. For example, a simple one to talk about is like street art. I think it was coming into Inglewood, coming in from Columbus, the first thing I saw coming in their downtown was that mural. And it felt so inviting driving in. I immediately felt, okay, I'm like, this is really cute. I'm starting to pay attention to everything around me. And what we would do is that would be one of our big strategies. But then we'd say, hey, this is the local artist that you need to reach out to, and we're going to create that 30-30 meeting. So once we give you the tools to actually accomplish this, we're going to create accountability. So we're going to tell you, what have you done the last 30 days, and what do the next 30 days look like for you, and what next strategy is next. And we're always there for technical support. Whether you're hitting implementation strategy and you're hitting a roadblock, call us. We're always, a phone call away, a flight away. We're on the road all the time. We're used to doing this. Templates and training. If there's anything, whether it's a press release or Instagram, whatever it may be, Facebook posts, we will provide the templates. And connecting you to strategic partners. So anyone that we have in our Rolodex of contacts is yours. A lot of times, whether it's branding, we can offer better pricing. And then next, your downtown team. One more. So our downtown team, it's predominantly ran by Jen and Jeremy. They're our downtown practitioners. They both have had over 15 years of experience in downtown work. If you're familiar with Starkville, Mississippi, Jen actually headed that complete revitalization of the downtown. That's actually where Mississippi State is the college. She completely revitalized her downtown, and we had to snag her because of her knowledge in the downtown sector. But yes, we've worked over 200 communities in their downtowns in over 25 states. And any questions? I know I've covered a lot, so please ask me anything.
The scariest thing I heard was that my Apple phone is conspiring to ruin my life with McDonald's.
You already knew that, though.
You knew that. It is scary, but it helps in the grand
Cash in
scheme
a
of
flip
things.
I mean, it's really exciting. I can only speak for myself, but I know nothing about, everything you just mentioned. And like Dan said, that data even exists, that you can
Right.
dive into that and be like, we know where these consumers are. And the fact that people are spending so much money out of town, me being one of them,
Right.
is crazy.
I think just at what point is 7 miles too much? Then if you do that multiple times a day, let's say you forgot something, you're looking at 30, 40 miles that you may be putting in your car when you could simply just ride down the road. Especially with the still waters development, I think this is the perfect time to jump. I mean, all of those homes actually drove through it before I came here, and I'm looking around, I'm seeing small families, young families. How are we going to keep them here? The only way to keep the younger generation is to bring in new retail concepts, and that's a matter of fact. And on top of that, bringing it downtown and making it, whether it's a monthly event, a farmer's market, whatever that might be, we need to band the community together so they're not continuously spending money elsewhere.
So
questions?
to develop a 5-year strategy and a plan like this, what's the initial cost basis to get involved in something like
So are you
this?
talking about the downtown proposal?
Yeah, like to look into, these services and what it's going to be to put all this together and this plan for our village. What's ballpark range that we start out at?
100%. So when we're looking at retail recruitment, we actually gave you a good deal, which I would call it our smart community. So that's about $45,000 a year. And we typically ask for a 3-year partnership. I don't know if you're aware or not, but real estate does take time. So a Starbucks can take anywhere from 9 to 12 months. But if we're looking at a grocery store, that can be anything from 2 to 3 years. Sometimes if it's a bigger grocery store, longer than that. And then on the downtown side, we ask for about $40,000 per year, and then for implementation support on year 2 and 3, that's just $25,000. So that initial first year, that's running the data, the strategic visioning workshop, we create that plan. That's $40,000 for that first year, and then $25,000 for implementation after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Anyone else?
Any other questions?
I really appreciate the information.
Yeah,
Well, thank you
incredible.
so much for your time. I really appreciated it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Also, I did include this, if y'all want to look over it. This is our, just like downtown, these are all communities under, I would think, under 6,000. These are just some of the strategies that we implemented in just 1 year. So just imagine what a 3-year partnership could look at. So if you want to look over that, if you have any questions. I did realize that my email, I did do a typo. I missed an E. Jeff has my email. If you have any questions or anything, please send it over to me and I can get that answered for you.
I don't want you to take a lack of questions for a lack of interest.
Yeah.
I know I have way more, but asking you would be asking for the trade secrets, be asking for
Right.
answers to what you guys do as a business. So I just don't want you to think because we're not asking you 10,000 questions, they're all there.
Absolutely. Well, Dawn, you can always give me a call and I can answer anything behind the scenes, so.
We may put together a list and just get them to you all
For
at
sure.
once, and maybe that would be the best way versus putting you on the spot and
Yeah.
asking you to give away the secret sauce. And
Well, I appreciate that. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
hard, I'm tempted. I'm like, ugh. But
Solve
now
all
that
our
the camera
problems.
involved, I'm like, no, thank you. But thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it. And you have questions?
I do.
Yes.
So on this document,
Yes.
you have Kentucky Power and One East Kentucky. I don't know what One East Kentucky is, but Kentucky Power seems obvious. Do places get sponsors?
So it kind of depends. For instance, Tennessee, the state of Tennessee, we've actually almost worked in every single city in Tennessee. I think we're like hitting like 97% of cities in Tennessee. So it really depends. Sometimes cooperatives, like any kind of energy corporation, Duke Energy in Florida, they did over, I think they gave us about $400,000 for retail academies across the state of Florida. So different entities also will sponsor us to, the amount of retail that opens up, the amount of power they have. So it's kind of, giving back in a sense. So it really depends. Economic developers reach out to us. It depends. I mean, we work with cities, counties, EDOs. I mean, we do it all. Cooperatives, but yes.
So like we could potentially get like someone to sponsor this also with us because it benefits them in the long run.
Absolutely. We actually do a lot of group retail academies. Lorraine was supposed to ended up being group academy, but Miami Township, they ended up backing out. They're coming in June, I believe, because they're waiting to hire someone on their economic development team, and they want him to be trained at our workshop. But it's very common. I mean, if you have close connections with cities surrounding, we could honestly cut an even bigger deal in that sense if you are interested in doing something like that.
Good question.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
y'all.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, I'll open the floor for any motions to enter into regular session.
So moved.
Second?
All right, roll call.
Mr. Dorman?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Gregory?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Satters?
Yes.
Mayor Hurst?
Yes. Now I'll open the floor for any motions for entering into executive session under the Charter 4.12B5A.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call?
Mr. Dorman?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Gregory?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Satters?
Yes.
Mayor Hurst?
Yes. All right, we're going to go into executive session, and when we return, we won't have any additional things on the docket or menu or agenda. We're going to waive the rest for tonight. And, all right, thank you. You are free to stick around until we return, or, you know, you can also leave if you'd like. All right, so, thank you.